Hi guys, the Prelims 2023 official answer key is finally out, and there are a few questions which hold great significance for us in terms of elimination research, the evolution of elimination thought, and also regarding the structuring of the statements in PYQs. So tomorrow, that is in Prelims 2024, if you have any statement where knowledge is not really helping, what I have to share in these videos, in today's video and in the next few videos, I hope it is going to help you in dealing with those statements. So the first question that I want to discuss is question number 1 of Series A 2023 paper. And in this question, 3 statements were given, and the structure of the statements was that a river and a lake was mentioned in all of the 3 statements. Now, what I want you to notice is the preparability part of the 3 statements. There's a great difference in the preparability of the 3 statements. Starting with the first statement, it says Jhelum River passes through Wooler Lake. Very plain statement, very straightforward statement. It's picked directly from NCERT. There would not be any serious aspirant, any sincere aspirant who cannot answer this statement. It is of such importance, it's of such significance, right? So these kind of facts where everything is preparable, everything is coming directly from standard books, and also it's highly expected that you know that information, you will actually know such points, like it's ingrained in your subconscious. And these are the kind of facts which I have in my elimination classes categorized as extremely important standard facts. XISF is the code that I used. Extremely important standard facts. Now these facts are almost always given as correct only because they are ingrained in our subconscious. The moment UPSC changes anything in these facts, our subconscious catches very quickly, right? So if UPSC makes these statements incorrect, it will become all the more easy, because the moment you change anything, for example, in this particular statement, Jhelum River does not pass through Wooler Lake, if something like this is mentioned, right? So the moment our mind sees anything like that in such kind of important statements, it will catch very quickly. So UPSC therefore just gives these statements as correct only, right? So, and that is what has happened in this question also. It's a correct statement. Compare this with the preparability of the second statement. It says Krishna River, very important river, but it says directly feeds. Now this is where confusion will start to happen, whether it feeds directly or indirectly through some tributary or something. So Krishna River directly feeds Koleru Lake. Now Koleru Lake, for a newcomer, it would be a fairly challenging task to remember this lake, because although it has been given multiple times in PYQs, it has been mentioned in the NCERTs also from class 6 to 12th, including in the maps of NCERTs. Still, to prepare this kind of information, it will take a fair amount of effort. And this is why these kind of statements, that is the statements which are mentioned in our NCERTs, in our standard books, they are very important. We know they are important. We have seen them in the PYQs also, but they are not of the importance as the first statement, the Jhelum River, the extremely important standard fact. So these are just below the extremely important standard fact. These are the mundane kind of standard facts. Let me put it like that. So if a mundane standard fact is there, which is, you know that it is possible to be asked, but you're not really sure that it will be asked, and you don't even expect, okay, it may be asked, may not be asked, like that kind of kacha pakka kind of hope is there. So that's why, like, you have to put in a lot of effort to remember these kind of facts. And when you have this situation, when you have a mundane, memory heavy kind of standard facts, these are not really testing your OLQs, they are officer-like qualities, they are not testing your aptitude for civil services, they're simply testing your memory. So UPSC generally tends to give these kind of statements, the memory heavy, not random, they're important standard facts, but memory heavy standard facts. They're not like, statement 1 here. So these kind of statements are generally incorrect, and the code that I use, the term that I use for these kind of informations, facts, is standard facts usually wrong, SFUW. If you go through my ET research channel, which I've by the way, made free to join till 16th of June. So if you're watching this video and if you're interested in just going through the content which I've created, this is Telegram basically, and ET Research Channel, Elimination Techniques, and GS Research Channel. You can go through it and all the tags, etc. are mentioned, right? All the techniques, everything is there. So these kind of facts, like given in statement 2, they are memory heavy, not really testing your OLQs. Not testing your aptitude, just testing whether you remember this fact or not. These are generally incorrect. Okay, standard facts usually wrong. So these are generally incorrect. This statement also is incorrect in this question. Now look at the third statement, and this is where things are getting interested. So in my free classes also, in the paid course also, in the free classes also, I've taught that when something is completely random, and if it is given in a very formal language, official kind of language, and if it is unpreparable, those facts are generally correct. And we use the term HTBC, has to be correct, to refer to those kind of facts. But if you look at the structuring, the content of the third statement, it says meandering of Gandak river. Now Gandak river is a very famous standard fact river, right? Formed Kanwar lake. Gandak river is very preparable, everybody would be aware of Gandak river, but it's the name of the lake which is a problem here. Kanwar lake was found by meandering of Gandak river. Now this lake was not in news in the last 2-3 years. Although it's an important lake, if you look it up, there are certain pieces of information which are important and relevant from exam angle also. It's a Ramsar site also. So a senior in preparation, somebody was given maybe 2, 3, 4 attempts, those kind of people would probably have the time to prepare this kind of information and know actually out of experience also these kind of things. But a fresher would find these kind of things extremely difficult and very random in the exam. So UPSC wants to make the exam level playing field for everyone. So UPSC will treat it as a random name, an unpreparable name. Now, in this statement, Gandak river is very famous and Kanwar lake is random, right? So when this combination is there, this is where we want to study how the PYQs have dealt with such kind of information. Do we take them as HTBC? Do we take them as unpreparable and therefore true, right? They has to be correct kind of statements, or do we take them as incorrect statements? This is the objective of today's video, how the PYQs have dealt with these kind of statements. Now the PYQs have dealt with these kind of statements as incorrect. I'll give you some examples also. And why and what is the structure? The structure of the statement has to be if one information, 2 facts are mentioned in the statement, one of them is very preparable, very important, very heard kind of fact, and the other, like Kanwar lake here, is very random, very unpreparable kind of fact. And let me show some evidence of this conclusion. The Chaussat Yogini temple, this was asked in 2021, CSE 2021, series A, question number 31. So Chaussat Yogini temple is not a very important temple. It's not like Bridreshwar temple or other famous Jagannath Puri type temple. It's a fairly unheard temple. We can compare it with the name Kanwar lake. So if a multi-statement question on Kanwar lake comes, it would be of similar level as this question, right? So Chaussat Yogini temple for a first attempter, first timer, a student, this would be a fairly difficult question, unheard name. And here, just look at the first statement. It says, it's a circular temple built during the reign of this dynasty. Now, this dynasty is never heard, right? So, I told you, when you have everything unheard in the question, those kind of statements are HTBC. They are true. They have to be correct, because there's no way you can prepare those statements or expect that they'll be asked in the exam. In this question also, you can see answer is Charlie, C. That is 1 and 4 are correct. So the first statement is correct, right? So the HTBC part is true. So I told you, when everything in the statement is unpreparable. Here Chaussat Yogini unpreparable, this dynasty name also is unpreparable, so HTBC. Look at what happens in the third statement here. It was meant to promote Vaishnava cult, Vaishnavism, Shaivism, all of these are very important cults, like preparable things, right? So the moment it changes from everything unknown, which was there in the first statement, to some things known, some things unknown. Here, the known thing is Vaishnava cult. So, the moment it is something known, like in the our Kanwar Lake question, Gandak River was known, Kanwar Lake was unknown. And in our Chauset Yogini temple question, Vaishnava cult is known, the temple is unknown. So when this happens, the statements are incorrect. Look at the answer. Charlie. Charlie is 1 and 4. Third statement is not present in Charlie. The third statement is incorrect. So evidence number 1. Let me take you through some more questions. Mahasangika question, right? This was asked in CSE 2020. Mahasangika, nobody, until this question, this Loko Taravadin, until this question, nobody knew these terms, right? So look at the, let's look at the HTBC statement first, the second statement. This sect was an offshoot of this sect of Buddhism. Nobody knows these names, right? So everything in the statement, both the sects' names are unheard, and if everything is unheard, everything is very random, unpreparable, those have to be true, HTBC. Look at the answer. Answer is Bravo. Bravo is 2 and 3, and we are looking for the correct statement. So 2 is a correct statement. It's a HTBC statement. Extremely sorry. Right? Why is it HTBC? Everything is unpreparable and very random. Now look at the first statement. The first statement, Sthaviravadin, never really heard this complete term. Theravadin is a term which is there in NCRTs, but for a first timer, first attempter, to think of Theravadin and link it with the Vadin of Sthaviravadin would be a challenge. So UPSC will just assume it as something unheard for the first timer. So let us also assume that this is unpreparable, unheard for the first attempter. So this is unheard information, but Mahayana Buddhism, very famous, Mahayana, Heenyan, right? These are famous points, famous sects of Buddhism, schools. So this, as per our deduction, as per our research, should be false, because one thing is unknown, another thing is known. Look at the answer, Bravo. Bravo is 2 and 3. So the first statement is not included in Bravo, so first statement is incorrect, right? So Sthaviravadin unknown and Mahayana Buddhism known. So when this is the structuring of the statement, it is generally incorrect. We can just come back to Kanwar Lake. Gandak River known, Kanwar Lake unknown. So should be incorrect as per our PYQ's research. Let us look at one more question. This is from geography now. This was asked in 2013 series A, question number 63. Look at the second question. Mica occurs in abundance in Koderma. Now, mica is not really a very important resource, although this statement or this information, not exactly this statement, this information, mica and Koderma, is there in the NCRT, and I have given the link also. I've taken a screenshot and I've put it in the channel. I've given its link also here. But just from the elimination angle, if we look at this statement, mica is not really a great or a very important resource, unlike natural gas, unlike petroleum, which are mentioned in this question. Right? These are very, very important. Uranium, thorium, like those are very, very important resources. But mica is not really of that level. So mica occurs in abundance in Koderma. Again, Koderma is not a very famous place. It's not like New Delhi. It's not like Mumbai, China, Chennai or Bangalore. Like these kind of, it's not like that. Jamshedpur, not like those kind of places, right? So from elimination angle, mica also is fairly unimportant. Koderma also is a fairly unimportant place. So HTBC. For a first attempter student, the second statement is going to be a challenge to prepare. He will feel the second statement is difficult to prepare, right? But it's very formal, very, otherwise random, formal and unpreparable. So very high chance that it is HTBC. Should be true. Answer is Bravo. We are looking for correct statements. Bravo is 2 only. So it's a correct statement. Now look at the first statement here. Natural gas, very important resource. Gondwana rocks, Gondwana beds, very important name. Almost everybody has heard, right? Even the first attempter would know Gondwana rocks, Gondwana beds. So when two heard things are mentioned, then it is would have heard, right? The how we have to think is, if such an important resource occurs in such an important rock type, we should have heard, right? So Gondwana rocks have natural gas deposits. We should have heard if that is the case, because Gondwana rocks is very famous for coal. If natural gas also was found there, it would be mentioned in our NCRTs itself. So the first statement from that angle becomes false, because it's a would have heard statement. Just look at the third statement. The third statement is talking of Dharwads. Now Dharwads are Kadapa, Dharwads, these are not as famous as Gondwana, right? So we can link them to your Kanwar Lake. Kanwar Lake was unpreparable. Dharwad, Kadapa rocks, these are unpreparable for a first time student. But petroleum is a very important resource. Everybody knows about it, right? So when you have a combination of something very important, something unimportant or unpreparable, those kind of statements are incorrect. You can see answer is Bravo. Bravo does not have the third statement, so it is false, right? So this lesson that we have in the third statement, if this makes sense to you, because we are trying to build an evidence-based approach to deal with questions where we don't have information, right? Of course, knowledge is the best, knowledge is supreme. If you have clear, confident knowledge, you should be using that only first to solve the questions. But where your knowledge is not helping you in dealing with the statements, that's where all this assessment, all this research comes into picture, right? So we want evidence-based approaches which are reliable and which you can practice, and then hopefully you're going to get good benefit in the exam. So that was the summary of this video, that when you have everything preparable in the statement, if it is extremely important standard fact, then it is true only, because the moment it changes anything, UPSC changes anything, your subconscious will catch it. If it is a memory heavy kind of standard fact, a very mundane kind of standard fact, memory heavy kind of standard fact, usually UPSC gives it as incorrect. These are the standard facts usually wrong. I'm not getting into the details of why these are incorrect. You should watch the training session for the multi-statement questions for that explanation. It's given for free on my YouTube channel. And the third statement is when you have a combination of a known or important fact and an unknown or random or unimportant unheard fact, those statements also, but they should be standard, it should be formal, it should be, that vibe should be there. It's extremely important to feel the vibe of these statements. It should not be like that dynasty statement of Chaucer Yogini temple, right? So when you have this combination, these statements also are generally incorrect, and that is what is the lesson for us in terms of dealing with these statements. Let me know what you feel about today's video, and what are the good things, what are not the good things. If you agree with what I've shared with my research, if you don't agree with that, if you have any question, which are PYQs only and they are not, they are opposed to what we have concluded in today's video, I would love to go through them and study them as well. So thank you so much for watching this video, and if you liked it, do share this video with your friends and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.